1. John Jones versus Rashid Evans, brothers turned bitter enemies. It started as a brotherhood, a bond forged in sweat, blood, and ambition. John Jones and Rashid Evans weren't just teammates at Jackson Wink MMA, they were family. Rashid was the big brother, the veteran, the man who opened doors for the young prodigy. But ambition doesn't play by friendship's rules. When Rashid got injured, the UFC offered John a title shot, Rashid's title shot. Evans expected loyalty. Jones saw destiny. He took the fight and took everything else with it. The gym split in half. Coaches picked sides. Rashid felt betrayed not just by a teammate, but by a man he once called little brother. The war of words got personal. Rashid accused John of smiling to your face while sharpening knives behind your back. Jones called Rashid irrelevant. When they finally met in the octagon, the tension was nuclear. Jones outclassed him technically, dominantly, but no one celebrated. It felt less like victory and more like a funeral for a friendship. In a sport full of knockouts, this was the rare fight where both men walked out broken, one in spirit, the other in reputation. Because in MMA, loyalty doesn't tap out, it just fades under the bright lights. To TJ Dillashaw, the snake of Team Alpha Male. Few betrayals shook MMA like this one. Team Alpha Male was a brotherhood built on loyalty, grit, and California swagger. Led by Uriah Faber, they fought together, lived together, and believed no one could break their unity. Enter TJ Dillashaw, the golden boy, the hard worker, the quiet assassin. He was their guy until he was. When former coach Dwayne Ludwig left Alpha Male, TJ followed. Not just for better training, but for money, fame, and a real champion mindset. At least, that's how the team saw it. The split turned ugly fast. Ludwig trashed Faber. Faber fired back. TJ called the team emotional. They called him a snake. That word snake would follow Dillashaw forever. Every weigh-in, every press conference, fans hissed. Even Cody Garbrandt, TJ's protege turned rival, accused him of knocking out teammates in practice. Their fight wasn't just about belts, it was about betrayal. And when TJ finished Cody twice, he smiled coldly. The betrayal had evolved into dominance. But karma came quietly. Years later, Dillashaw's champion's mindset was exposed, tainted by EPO, a banned substance. The ultimate irony. The man who betrayed his team for greatness betrayed himself for it too. 3. Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal, from brothers to blood feud. They were roommates once, training partners, brothers. Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal, the loudmouth wrestler and the streetwise brawler, were an unlikely duo that became unstoppable. Together, they grinded through the ranks at American Top Team, dreaming of gold. But dreams can turn into debts, and debts into enemies. According to Masvidal, it all started with money. Colby refused to pay one of Jorge's coaches after a win. Trust cracked. Then came ego, fame, and cameras. Colby transformed from humble wrestler to chaos incarnate. He turned his back on ATT, insulted teammates, trashed the gym, and crossed every line of respect. Masvidal, who once protected him like a brother, was now his target. The friendship died the moment Colby weaponized their bond for clout. When they finally fought at UFC 272, it wasn't just about rankings, it was personal warfare. Colby wrestled, mocked, and dominated, but even victory couldn't erase the hate. Weeks later, Masvidal hunted him down outside a restaurant, fists flying, revenge unfiltered. Their story became the definition of betrayal, where friendship turned to fury and brotherhood to blood. 4. Ronda Rousey and Edmond Tarverdyan, a coach's delusion. At her peak, Ronda Rousey was the queen of combat sports. Every opponent fell, every headline hailed her as invincible, and by her side always was her coach, Edmond Tarverdyan. But the truth behind that loyalty, it was toxic devotion disguised as mentorship. When cracks began to show, Edmond didn't fix them, he fed Ronda delusion. He told her she was unbeatable. He called her the best boxer in the world. He built an echo chamber around a fighter who needed reality checks. Holly Holm provided that reality violently. Ronda's downfall wasn't just Holm's head kick. It was Edmond's failure to evolve her game, to tell her the truth when it mattered most. Ronda's blind loyalty cost her everything, her belt, her aura, her legacy. The betrayal here wasn't between rivals. It was between student and teacher. The kind that cuts deepest, because it comes from someone you trust to protect you. 5. Kamaru Usman versus the Blackzilians, the quiet rebellion. Before becoming the Nigerian nightmare, Kamaru Usman was just another hungry fighter at the Blackzilians gym, a powerhouse camp filled with stars like Rashad Evans and Anthony Johnson. But behind closed doors, the atmosphere was chaotic. Management conflicts, egos clashing, fighters leaving. Usman saw the cracks forming and made a quiet decision: survive by moving on. To some it was smart, to others betrayal. When the gym imploded, teammates turned on each other. Rashad called out disloyalty. But Usman kept climbing. He outlasted everyone who doubted him. And when he became champion, it wasn't just a victory, it was vindication. The lesson: sometimes betrayal isn't personal, it's evolution. 6. BJ Penn versus American Kickboxing Academy, the crossed line. BJ Penn was the prodigy, a legend with raw talent and a warrior spirit. But when he joined AKA to prepare for Georges St. Pierre, the loyalty lines blurred. He trained with fighters who had history with GSP, and rumors began swirling that BJ shared secrets, that he was too comfortable with the enemy. After the fight, a brutal loss, Penn accused GSP's camp of greasing, claiming unfair play. AKA felt betrayed by the accusations. The gym that helped him now distanced themselves from him. Penn's pride turned protection into paranoia. In the end, no one came out clean, only exposed. Because in MMA, betrayal isn't always about money or fame. Sometimes it's about trust, and what happens when that trust becomes weaponized. 7. Conor McGregor versus his coaches, the fall of the Golden Team. At one point, Conor McGregor's team was legendary: John Kavanagh, Artem Lobov, Owen Roddy. Together they built an empire out of a dream. But empires crumble when the crown grows heavy. As Conor's fame exploded, the bond began to fade. Training camps turned into press tour. Discipline turned into distractions. Some insiders claimed Conor stopped listening, that he surrounded himself with yes men. Others said the coaches betrayed him by cashing in, instead of holding him accountable. Whatever the truth, one thing became clear: the man who conquered 2 divisions became isolated. And when the losses came, there was no one left to tell him the truth he needed to hear. Sometimes betrayal doesn't come from others. It comes from letting loyalty blind you, even to yourself. 8. Antonio McKee and the Team Bodyshop fallout. Antonio McKee was a pioneer, a coach who built fighters from the ground up, including his own son, AJ McKee. For years, they represented loyalty, discipline, and family. But success has a funny way of creating silence and distance. When A.J. McKee started questioning his career path and management, whispers began about contracts, control, and clashes behind the scenes. Father and son, coach and fighter, the line blurred. Interviews grew colder, the smiles faded. The bond that once felt unbreakable started showing cracks, not from betrayal out of malice, but from pride. In the fight game, loyalty is tested not when you're losing, but when you're winning. True. In MMA, betrayal doesn't always come with fists. Sometimes it's a handshake that turns cold, a teammate that turns rival, or a coach who tells you you're unbeatable right before you fall. If you enjoyed diving into these ruthless betrayals, hit that like button, or your corner might just throw in the towel before you even touch gloves.